This week's Star Chicagoan is a civil rights attorney helping others fight discrimination and creating laws that bring change to their community. Take a look.
My name is Maaria. I'm a mother of 3 kids. I'm a wife. I live in the suburbs, and I take civil rights cases all over the state, and I write laws for individuals at the congressional level and in communities at the local level, and I do all my work pro bono. All lawyers have to take a bar exam, and I failed, and it was very embarrassing. So I took the bar 6 times, and I share that with people because I want them to understand it's not how many times I failed, it's how many times I took it. I wanted to become a lawyer because I knew I wanted to be able to speak for others who could not speak for themselves. So as a civil rights attorney, I take discrimination cases. My red flags go up when I see individuals being treated differently when they're stopped for a traffic stop based on their race, when they're being incarcerated, when they're actually in a situation which leads to their death because they're black. Individuals that are being stopped at the airport because they wear a headdress and it's clear that they're Muslim. Individuals that are asked to leave a plane because they're speaking Arabic. And so I started volunteering my time as a legislative attorney and meeting with legislators and writing legislation.
She has moved together and moved forward bills against hatred, against bigotry, for the benefit of the Muslim community, the Jewish community, the Sikh community, other minority communities. Everybody united in that direction of building a better Chicago and a better Illinois and a better America.
If you have access to a good attorney and you have access to relationships and contacts, you get problem solved very quickly in your life. And I want to make it very accessible for communities that have that gap. Individuals that suffer this discrimination become the most powerful agents of change. The ones that have the least are the ones that are the loudest and the ones that are trying their hardest to build change, but they have the least access. And those are the people we really need to help.
She's someone who gives her complete all when she believes in something. Her agenda is the people.
That whole time in my mind where it was very easy to give up and I didn't, when I see laws being passed unanimously, or I see individuals emailing me of how they can change their communities and get optimistic about their future, I'm so glad I didn't give up.
Please welcome Maaria and Mozaffar. Maaria, thank you so much for being here. Incredible work you're doing.
Yes. And it's so important to point out, not only is the work you're doing incredibly important, but you're doing this pro bono, you're doing this for free.
Yes. Yes, and I want to state that, you know, whether it's law or being an artist or being a writer, there's always something that you can contribute at some level. And it's not about doing it pro bono, it's the idea that what you do is your life. And what you get back is tenfold. And if we all moved out of that space and contributed to society, we would be in a better place.
Right. Now, how do you make a living, though?
So I am married, and I have a husband and 3 little kids that I have to support. But I will say that no matter what your situation in life is, you can always do a little bit more.
Right.
And this is not about how many resources you have, it's how much you can give to somebody else.
Right, right. And I think what's important to note for me is that you bring up a point about kids who are in the suburbs or in better situations. If they get in trouble, if they have a problem, they lawyer up and they're out. Kids maybe in the inner city or from the hood who don't have access to attorneys have a very different outcome.
And I want to be very clear that this is a reality that we all have seen.
Of course.
And we consistently ignore.
Yes.
Right? Unless it's in the headlines or it becomes political. But if you look at the statistics, just for quality of life in Chicago, there's a statistic that basically states that Latinos and blacks get stopped and their cars get searched 4 times more than the average white person.
Easily.
But half of the times they don't have any contraband compared to the white person that's stopped.
Right.
And a black student is expelled 25 times compared to a white person in Chicago public schools. So this starts very early, and our alarm should go off when there's any segment of society that is not progressing the way that they should.
Right, and you're the primary writer for the SMART Act.
Yes.
To try to help prevent that from happening. Now, what about the average citizen? What about someone who is not an attorney, who has not passed the bar? What can they do to try to help the climate?
Well, how many times have we seen stories about police brutality, traffic stops turning into death? And there's so many cars that probably passed by during that time in each of those cases. So my advice is always, if you want to do something and you don't have a law degree, get out your cell phone, stop your car if you see someone of color being stopped by the police, and just be a witness.
Right.
Because that puts everybody on alert. If you're on the airplane and someone is being discriminated against, take your phone out and just experience what you would have experienced if this was happening to you.
Absolutely.
Maaria, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate the work you're doing. For more on Maaria and her work, head to WindyCityLive.com. And as always, if you know someone who should be our next 4-star Chicagoan, send an email to WCL@WindyCityLive.com. Make sure you put 4-star Chicagoan in the subject line.